What I get excited about, particularly with projects like this, is the ability to actually look at the data and see what kind of story it's going to tell. Because people often make assumptions about different things, and you can often be surprised at what the data tells you. And we've done a good job in Philadelphia and other communities around data from cultural organizations themselves, from national information from folks like the NEA and people like that, from the census. But I do get the sense that event information data is kind of like the last kind of wild frontier of data in terms of arts organizations and policymakers thinking smart about what the implications of that data are, because it's very difficult to track. It's transient in nature. Events come and go. That information's not really stored. The opportunities to have data standards so that we can communicate between the different systems, all the different ticketing systems, all the different websites. It's extremely challenging, but I think that if we can make progress on that, I think we're going to have a much richer picture of what's actually going on the ground. Data, good data is certainly a positive thing, but I think what we're particularly interested in is the implications from that data, how you interpret that, how you frame that to tell a particular story towards a larger goal. So we have some pretty ambitious goals as a service organization for the cultural community, and so we look at ways to use data to reinforce what we think is the underlying value proposition of the arts, and try to get perceptions about the arts shifted so that it's seen as more of a positive and integrated asset for communities, as opposed to previous perceptions where it was seen more as a kind of nice add-on or something like that. I think the arts offer a lot more than that, and I think data helps us tell that story. It's an issue that's so complex and so tremendous that I think it's very difficult for us as an art service organization to take a leadership role on that, but certainly resources are critical. Tax structure is critical, but it does impact us because from some data that we've seen, and just anecdotally, we know that many arts organizations are filling in the gaps around arts education where there have been cuts within school administrations. And while that's a great thing that we can connect those two, one of the things that we've also really tried to hammer home in our different reports and research communication is that the arts are taking on more and more responsibility for making things accessible, making things affordable, making sure that everyone has access to arts education, arts activities, but with the pressures in government cuts and foundation cuts and corporate cuts, it's becoming more and more difficult to sustain that and to keep these arts organizations going. I think this data can be used a lot of different ways. I mean, I think that's what I'm hearing in these conversations. You don't have to come to consensus on how you can take these take this integration of data and this work that Project Audience is doing. You don't have to have a consensus about how that's used, but you do have to work at making sure, just like the arts itself, that this data is more accessible so that people can use it for different ends, whether it's a grassroots strategy, whether it's a policy issue, or whether it's a particular arts organization that wants to make a decision that is as simple as, where can I open another theater? Where are there gaps, or where are there people that will support it in that community? And data can provide, particularly event data, can provide you with that kind of business analyst knowledge that you need to make that decision.